Welcome, friends, to a word of hope for the feast of the Exaltation of the Cross. I'm Father Andrew Carl Wisdom, Vicar for Mission Advancement and Assistant Novice Master. And I greet you today from the Novitiate Chapel in Denver, Colorado. You know, it's been almost 20 years since its release, but I still remember the marketing tagline for that movie, The Passion of the Christ. Dying was his reason for living. Dying was his reason for living. Our opening prayer this morning for Mass echoes that same profound truth. O God, who willed your only begotten Son should undergo the cross to save the human race. And Pope Leo the Great famously affirmed that theological understanding. There's no other reason than the Son of Man being born than that he might be fixed to the cross. And remember last week when we celebrated the Nativity of Blessed Mother Mary? And Joseph had his dream. And what did the Lord say to him in that dream? You shall name him Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins. Today's feast celebrates, if you will, the crescendo of Jesus's life and mission between those two bookends of the incarnation and the resurrection. We exalt the cross today because a horrific instrument of death has been utterly recast and transformed as the graced means of our salvation through an utterly heroic, self-sacrificial act of love. It was for this act of love that Jesus came. And we know that, especially through that last line in today's gospel, which reinforces the point God did not send his Son to condemn the world, but rather that the world might be saved through him. Saved from what? Well, what do we have in the first reading? But the destructive doubts and paralyzing fears and distrust of the Israelites, once again on their journey to the promised land, wondering if God's there, doubting his presence and his love. That happens to us too. But just as Jesus is the reminder to us that God is there, the visible image of his the invisible presence among us, we have to be reminded in our impatience on our journey of God's love and God's presence. Because what always leads to sin? It's our doubt. It's our fears. And yet God is saying today, do not let those fears and doubts be the last word. For the one thing you can count on is those 5 words, those famous 5 words. God so loved the world. Trust God's love. It never changes, even though the world changes. God's love is always there. God bless you.